Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Legends Behind the Lens. Please subscribe. Oh, that's what we're doing. Please subscribe. All right. 3.
All right, this camera is rolling.
Just ask about the money.
Sincere.
Okay, I'll take note.
Okay. Sound speed.
Walking across the camera, bro.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, everyone welcome Steve Sincere Gilles.
Wait a minute, wait. This is Sid, so we gotta lick a blood clot shot. The original got our haircut, man.
Done know. I have to give the ultimate thank you and credit to Michael K. Williams. Michael K. Williams basically saw me at a photo shoot where he was coming in to do a shoot, a fashion shoot.
And this is when, like 10 years ago, right?
This was in 2010.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
this was in 2010. We did a fashion shoot for XXL magazine at the time, and I groomed his hair. We both realized we had mutual friends that were trying to connect us, and we finally got connected. I was grooming him, and he again loved the fact that during the whole entire shoot, I was just making sure that he was correct at every single point in time. Thank you so much. And so after that shoot, we exchanged numbers. I gave him my card and everything, and we kept in touch. I would say March of 2011, he reaches out to me and says, listen, I'm on this show, Boardwalk Empire, and they're not really doing a good job with me right now. I just need somebody to come and take care of me. Like, are you available? And I was just like, hell yeah, I am. Like, let's figure it out. And the first day on set, I learned so much because it was not just about going to his dressing room and cutting his hair and then leaving and go and handle the rest of my day. It was cutting his hair, getting him ready. At that time, I knew how to tie bow ties and neckties and things of that nature because I was developing a line of accessory wear. And so I was the one tying his bow tie for Boardwalk Empire if the costumer wasn't doing it or whatever have you, and getting them together. And then to be on set, and when they say last looks, I was just like, and he made it clear, like, look, when they say last looks, you come out there and you make sure I'm good for the camera. And I was just like, oh, that's what that means. Okay, cool. So it was a learning experience, and it was just beautiful. And I was just like a sponge soaking up all of the information.
So Sincere, tell us about your cameo in The Night Of. How did that happen?
I was working with Michael. We had just finished working on Boardwalk Empire. We started doing The Night Of, and we were just in our zone and working. There was a specific scene where he's in his cell and he's getting a haircut. And so the ADs were coming to me and they were asking me, is there a way that you can kind of like cut Michael and give him enough room to where, like, because we're gonna have a stand-in come in and pretend that he's cutting his hair, but we don't want him to mess up anything that you've done, so is there a way that something like that could happen? And I was like, so let me get this straight. You're going to have a stand-in pretend, or is he gonna have like a real life clip, like what's going on? Yeah, he's gonna have like a real life clipper, but he's gonna pretend. I said, I don't think that's gonna work for me. And I was just like, wow, I was like, I need to be there. Like, is there a way for me to be that stand-in? Like, is there a problem with me being that stand-in? I'm his groomer. I might as well be there to groom his hair. And it was just like, you know what, that makes complete sense. Let me ask and see if that can happen. And lo and behold, the director and the producer agreed to it, and I was in the scene of The Night Of in episode 4 when he was sitting in the cell and I was there cutting his hair, and he like abruptly said, step out, I need to speak to Riz's character at the time. So it was cool. It was cool. It was a good feeling. Yeah. To work with, that's a person that I would love to work with. That's Spike Lee. You know, not so much person of grooming or doing in that sense, but it's just like being around Spike Lee and soaking up that energy. Right.
I want to know the first time that you met Idris Elba. How'd it go down?
That was actually a good situation too. It was funny. So his manager was a real good friend of mine, and it was also a client. Aronde. So it's crazy. Aronde actually was one day driving, or in a cab, I should say, in Brooklyn. Driving down Brooklyn, saw me in the barbershop, came out the cab, walked into the door, and was just like, "Do you have anybody that you're seeing right now as far as cutting hair?" And I said, "No, come in." Came in, sat down, I cut Aronde as if he was just a regular client. And he liked what I did. He got up, he said, "Let me get your number. You know, you work by appointments." "Yeah, I do." And that was the end of that day. And Aronde just kept hitting me up like, "Hey, are you free? I need a cut." And he became a customer for 3 whole months. By like the 3rd month, I get a call from Aronde, and I'm thinking it's about a haircut. And he's saying, "Listen, I never got to tell you, but I manage somebody, and they're about to do a spread for LA Times. Have you done editorial before?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "All right, so I'm gonna have people hit you and let you know what the deal is, and we'll see you then." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Who is this person? And you want to let me know?" He's like, "Oh, it's Idris Elba." I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." At the time, I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." So I get myself together and so forth. And at this time, I done seen Idris and everything that he's done, like The Wire, Daddy's Little Girl, Takers, things of that nature, right? As I met him and he walked in, like, I was never nervous before, but as soon as he walked in, a sense of urge of nervousness hit me, because it was just like, and I was just telling him, "Sincere, just do what you do. Just cut his hair. Like, don't overthink this, just cut his hair." And that was it. And that's just really all it was. So he came in and he's just like very welcoming. "Hey, what's going on?" Said my name and everything. He sat in the chair, told me what he wanted. I cut his hair, and we were just having a real good conversation where I was telling him, "I saw you in Takers and this, that, and the third." And I said, "There's only one thing I didn't really appreciate. You could have just warned me before you got up out your bed with just your boxers on to walk across the screen. Like, you gotta warn us guys about that." You know, the girls love it because they was yelling in the theater, but like, come on, man. And they just started laughing and stuff. So that was our first encounter. He was laughing. We were just bugging out off of that. And I pulled out my scissors and started trimming them, and he stopped and he looked up, and then he put his head back down. And then he told me, he said, "You're really into this art, like you're really a barber." And I was just like, "Yeah, why do you say that?" He said, "No, because I've never had a person actually use shears to trim my hair in the process of this. Like, they've used everything else, but this is a lost art form." And I was just like, "Yeah, nah, I stick to that."
For a paycheck.
Passion.
Say without even blinking.
Passion.
We live in the economy though. You have to, make
Yeah.
money to do your passion. But tell me why you think that.
Your passion will bring you your paycheck.
You better preach. You better preach. Drop this knot. Drop this nut.
It's just that simple. I've been in situations where I have a certain rate where I that I stand by because I know my worth. So this is my rate. But I've been in situations where negotiations have happened, and they've been distributing a rate that is not gonna uphold me at all. At this point, I'm thinking, this is what I love to do. So how is this going to benefit me in the long run? That's just the bottom line. If it's not going to benefit me financially, it has to benefit me some other way. Right. And that's how I go about negotiating certain things. But when I feel so strongly about what it is that I do, I'll give you a good example, a good story. Jonathan Majors. right? Just met Jonathan Mazes on Lovecraft Country, and that is my brother, right? I love him to death. He came to me while we were on set, and he was saying, look, there's an editorial magazine that he has to do something for a photo shoot for. Would I be available to do it? And I said, sure. So on like a Saturday, just go in and groom him and get him ready. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. Who else to do it? Because I'm grooming you on the show, might as well groom you for that. His manager reaches out and says, you know, give me the details. Excuse me, ask me for my rate. I let her know my rate and everything, and she says, cool, I'll get everything together. Magazine reaches out to the manager reaches out to me and says, hey, the magazine don't pay, they just do credit. Like your name will be credited on the magazine for doing the work for him.
Can we say what magazine?
It's literally, and I'm not even trying to be funny, it's not coming to me right now.
Okay.
But
Good answer.
You're so good at what you do.
So
Moving on,
right? And she was like, I totally understand if you're not gonna be doing it because I know how this is and how this works. And I said, listen, my mind just said, listen, it's not even, at this point, it's not even about the money. I'll still do it.
Yeah.
Because he's working on a show that I'm responsible for him about. Them hiring or him having to fend for somebody else that could potentially ruin what I've established for the show is not worth it.